Hey, what's up everyone? I'm the Burning Baron, but you can just call me the Baron, and we are on stop number 4 of this big road trip of Mario Kart track rankings. And the next stop is Mario Kart Double Dash. I will admit I've got some fond memories of playing Mario Kart Double Dash, but as time went on, I felt like the tracks didn't resonate with me nearly as much, but that's what this ranking is for, to see where they really stack up. Because this is kind of the time where I'm really thinking about how much I like each and every track. So, as always, personal opinion, not fact, let's dive in. And we're going to start with GCN Luigi Circuit. So, GCN Luigi Circuit I think is a little bit in between N64 and most other Luigi circuits, in that it's very memorable to me, and I very much do enjoy it. But being an opener means that I don't really see it climbing too terribly high. But at the same time, this is probably one of my favorite openers as well. The question is going to just be, where will it land? So, diving into the appearances, Double Dash was probably still its peak appearance out of its 2 appearances. It was of course, debuted in Double Dash, and then it reappeared in Mario Kart DS as the final course of the Shell Cup. Luigi Circuit is great in the sense where it offers both a challenge and an easy opener. I believe if you play it on up to 100cc in Double Dash, there's a barrier in the center that splits the 2 roads apart. But on 150cc in Mirror, the barrier is gone, so everybody who's driving one way can hit people going the other. Sorry. It's a big open track, and you can be hit by, say, a Bowser shell from Bowser who is going the opposite direction of you. That sounds like fun, doesn't it? But I think that's exactly what adds to a lot of the charm of GameCube's Luigi Circuit, in that for an opener, it's got some pretty spicy gameplay for it, and I kind of really like that. Would it be better than N64 Luigi Raceway? Probably not, but we'll see. In Mario Kart DS, I don't quite remember if the barrier was present on lower difficulties or if it was just removed entirely. I will admit my detailing on the DS is a little bit less when compared to other games, but other than just knowing it's there, it plays pretty much the same, just without the chaos of special items that Mario Kart DS or Mario Kart Double Dash offered. Though Mario Kart DS does still have some chaotic items, such as the Bullet Bill, and of course the blue shell can still cause a big explosion right in front of everybody, but now a blue shell has a chance to screw people over in lower positions than just the first place. So, that being said, there isn't really too much else to say, so I guess the question is, where do I rank it? I 100% believe that it's going to end up being in the B tier, but I just have to figure out where. The fun factor, I feel like the fun factor, you know what, I actually think I have it. I think I'm gonna put this track right in between Royal Raceway and Shy Guy Beach as a solid B ranking track. Well, again, when I compare it to these other tracks, Broken Pier, Mario Circuit 4 have no other appearances to rely on. Bowser Castle 2 and Riverside are pretty decent for what they are. Riverside's lower on the B simply because of some layout changes in 8 Deluxe and Tour, while Bowser Castle 2, in all of its appearances, just brings a relatively solid experience, but nothing too special. Royal Raceway, just kind of tired of it. Tour and 8 Deluxe and 8, again, 10 years of this, we're kind of hitting a limit here. But meanwhile, the experience I get in Mario Kart Wii with Cheep Cheep Beach, or Shy Guy Beach, is a little bit better. And Cheep Cheep Island overall, most of these other tracks up here, they just have something else going for them. Luigi Circuit, pretty middle of the road. Literally. Alright, moving on to GCN Peach Beach. On the topic of beaches, Peach Beach, I think, was a phenomenal reference to Mario Sunshine, which makes a lot of sense given that Mario Sunshine released just a few years before Double Dash, and it was obviously a GameCube near launch title. Being the next big 3D Mario game that came after the already amazing Super Mario 64, of course they're going to try to weave the main games into most other spin-offs at the time. So, of course, some Sunshine references were just a go-to for Double Dash. And Peach Beach basically embodies the entire Sunshine feel with piantas, Nokis, a little town that kind of resembles the idea of Delfino Plaza, and of course a big beach, kind of reminiscent of Gelato Beach from Sunshine. The Daisy Cruiser is also visible in the background, we'll get to that one later, and the Cataquacks really do sell the Gelato Beach vibes. This is still a very, very tricky course for me to rank, simply because I don't know where I want to put it. I like the theming of Peach Beach, but I don't really care for the track as a whole. I just don't really know. It's got 2 appearances, the second appearance being in Mario Kart Wii, which means much like Luigi Circuit, it doesn't really have too much else to rely on. But at the same time, I think Wii is definitely one of the stronger games your second appearance can be in. Because Mario Kart Wii was pretty solid in terms of its visuals, very colorful, very vibrant. I like to see Mario Kart Wii as the home console equivalent to Mario Kart Super Circuit. We're not talking about either of those though, we're talking about Double Dash. And even in Double Dash, pretty vibrant track. I have to be really serious here. But I don't think I like Peach Beach enough to put it in B. But I don't want to slam it down in D, and putting it in C is once again just really showing how bloated this category is going to be. I'm almost thinking maybe I might have to at some point maybe divide C up lower and maybe make a C plus and a C minus, because honestly the C tier really is for a bunch of tracks that I either don't have too much opinion on, or I don't like them nearly enough to hit the B rank. That being said, I think what I'm going to do, I think it's really hard. If I were to run this as a C minus and C plus, this would probably be a C plus, which is weird because when I originally thought about this, I really didn't. Peach Beach was just so low on my list. This is definitely one that's subject for change. I think for now, I'm going to put it in between GBA Mario Circuit and Moo Moo Farm. And you know what? Let's do the live transition right now. We're gonna go ahead and we're going to add a row below. We're going to make this one mid-orange, and we're gonna call this C minus. While this one is going to be C plus, because I think it's about time I divide this a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're gonna start moving some tracks down. I think for now, where did I have that? So for, I think 100%, okay, I think it's time for a little bit of a live shuffle too. Choco Island 1, Ghost Valley 2, whoops. Donut Plains 1, no. This is a massive live transaction. Wow. You know what? Yeah. I think what we're going to do is we're going to put these SNES tracks in C minus. I know I ranked them up here and mixed in with all these other tracks for a reason, but the more I thought about it, I really do like the Vanilla Lake template enough that I don't want to shoot these down any lower. Donut Plains 1 is great in DS, but it's kind of lackluster in Tour, and it's pretty standard, all things considered. Choco Island 1 is super fun in Tour, but it's also not all that big, and Super Circuit and Super Mario Kart, it was just pretty standard. I think we're going to go with this for now, because we also needed to really break up some of these SNES tracks. I have absolutely no idea what's going to further break these up, but we're going to make a C- tier, and we're going to put these down here. C+ will be for the average tracks that I think are good enough that they're not mid, but not good enough that I can put in the B tier, while the C- tier is just for tracks that I either lack a true opinion on, or I just don't think they're great. So yeah, Peach Beach is going to be a C+ track. Moving on, we've got GCN Baby Park. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's an oval. It is the smallest track in the entire franchise. And for that reason, it's 7 laps long in Double Dash and in 8, versus being about 5 laps long in Mario Kart DS and in Tour, 3 laps for its trick variant, just its trick variant. So I understand that Baby Park is a phenomenally popular Double Dash track. I've got very split opinions on this, and I think a large portion of Baby Park's appeal comes solely from what game it's in. Mario Kart Double Dash embodies the chaos this track was probably designed for. Having a very small and relatively open track combined with the special items that each character had makes Baby Park one chaotic map. In its favor, you've got things like giant bananas, Bowser shells, and Mario and Luigi's fireballs to make this track one crazy thing to experience. Even Yoshi eggs, when they break open and a bomb shows up, or Waluigi and Wario's bombs in general. A lot of special items specifically make this track pretty chaotic. And honestly, the more I think about it, just about everyone's, except for maybe Toad and Toadettes, have some kind of edge around here. Triple green shells and red shells ricocheting off of the walls, the Bowser shells, Peach and Daisy's defense for this track, Yoshi and Birdo's eggs that just scatter even more crap on the track, the scattered Mario and Luigi fireballs, the giant bananas taking up most of the track and then littering it with 3 more, the Bob-omb's explosions. I'd say that Toad and Toadette's items are probably the only one that doesn't really serve much of a function on this track. Because you tried dodging a chain chomp when the road's this small. And what Toad and Toadette have is the golden mushroom, which only means that they're probably going to hit another item whether they like it or not. Double Dash is definitely the highlight for this track, and I would not necessarily say that it got entirely better as time went on. Mario Kart DS really just shit on this track by having crappy background details, 5 laps, no special items that make it even more chaotic. It's just an oval in DS, and I think the bigger insult was that this was in the Banana Cup. This is nothing that climbs higher than the easiest cup in the game. I think the only reason why it was in Shell Cup is because they wanted Luigi Circuit in the Shell Cup. I said Shell the first time. The only reason why it's in Banana Cup is because they wanted Luigi Circuit in the Shell Cup. Fast forward to Mario Kart 8's DLC, and would I say it's any better? Not really. 12 racers does mean a little bit more chaos, but I still just don't feel like there's too much to it. Its anti-gravity detail is really cool, but I think the best part about Baby Park and Mario Kart 8 was simply how much more detail there was. This was an actual theme park, a lot of more attractions to look at, a lot more background details, but the gameplay still just doesn't carry it too high for me. And once again, suffering from that, it's been 10 years ordeal. Maybe a little less because it's DLC, but you get my point. We've been dealing with Baby Park for quite some time. Then, of course, it reappeared in Tour as well, using its Mario Kart 8 design, but without the anti-gravity. And I think Tour is another game where it can be seen as a little bit better, mostly because of item frenzies. And you try and convince me that a giant banana frenzy on a tiny track isn't devastating. The only problem with this appearance is that it's Tour. You know, that one game that a lot of people either don't want to admit is a mainstream Mario Kart game, or just don't have the interest to play. I'm not saying it's bad for people to dump on Tour, because I understand why you would. I personally don't, and I personally do see it as a mainline Mario Kart, mainly because Nintendo, when announcing the Booster Course Pass, treated it as a mainstream Mario Kart. That being said, with all these appearances, can I really call it anything special? Well, yes and no. The only appearance it really has for me that really rocks is Double Dash. And even then, the next best appearance for me is Tour. And, well, I just think that there's too big of a gap. Every other appearance has a catch, and those catches are detrimental at worst and just barely a benefit at best. So I feel like, for me, Baby Park 100% is a C- track. I don't really think it's as bad. Let me see. You know what? Let's put it at the end for now while I cover the variants. Tour's variants weren't bad. The trick variant was probably the best one, but the reverse trick variant was problematic for me specifically because it's not exactly coin box friendly, and there wasn't really much else I could use for it. And Baby Park Reverse it's an oval. It's the same track. Baby Park Reverse is effectively mirror mode. There isn't much to say about you know what, the trick variant's the only thing that really has going for it. I want to say that it's 100%. You know what? Another live transition or another live shuffle. I don't really think I want to say that Bowser Castle 1 is better than Baby Park. And my experiences with Ghost Valley 2 aren't exactly better. So I'm going to put that down too. Baby Park might be the first thing we have that can split up some of these SNES tracks. It's a C- for me. It's fun in Double Dash, but it's a challenge to find a group of people who have played Double Dash to even have that level of chaos with. I was lucky enough to have had that moment at some point in my life with my brother and a few of our other friends, but we haven't seen those friends in quite some time, which is not great. But the amount of fun we could have had with Baby Park with that group, 100% would have made up for it. But in my largely single-player, modern life, Baby Park's just not covering a lot of the intensity that it could have had back in the GameCube era. So we're going to call it a C- track. Moving on to Dry Dry Desert. This is a relatively standard desert track, all things considered. It's got 2 appearances, Double Dash and 8 Deluxe/8, which means 10 years is gonna do a hurt on this one. It was a pretty interesting track in Mario Kart 8. I like that they added the Oasis at the end, but I didn't really care that they took out the tornado. The tornado was what made that track a lot of fun. And I love that it's a constant menacing threat that you can see throughout the entire track, and you just got to avoid. Then, of course, there's the giant sand pit near the beginning, and that's also a massive problem because it'll suck you in if you get too deep, which means a mushroom or a star is probably needed to get you out of there, and if you're in first, good luck getting either of those. The tornado does go around the sand pit as well as around the starting line. And in the original, the Oasis is not an oasis, it's just a bunch of dried up sand dunes with pokies littered all over the place. Overall, this is a very standard desert track, 100% coming nowhere close to Calamari Desert or Yoshi Desert, or even Sunset Wilds for that matter, if you really want to consider Sunset Wilds a desert. Would I say it's a B rank track? Probably not, but I definitely think it's a solid C+ track. The question is, where? Again. Because again, I personally believe I'm not doing justice. You know what? I am not doing enough justice to the Vanilla Lake tracks. I really have to go back and on my thought process with these two. Visuals are carrying these two tracks a lot. Dry Desert 100% is going to be a C+ track, but I really don't want to put it below the Vanilla. I don't want to put it above the Vanilla Lakes, but I don't want to put it at the bottom of C+. So what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna put Donut Plains at the bottom, as well as Ghost Valley 3, and I'm actually, you know what? Yes, I'm gonna put Choco Island 2 down here as well. Dry Desert's gonna break these SNES tracks up, because I just love the Vanilla Lake template too much for me to want to say that these three really outrank it. They're fine, their variants are fine, but I feel like I'm a little bit more excited to see Vanilla Lake 2 and 1 more than I'm excited to see Choco Island 2 or Donut Plains 2 and Tour. And while the variants are a little tricky, I feel like I just have more fun on them regardless. Dry Desert, on the other hand, we're going to stick right in the center of all of these because it's a really... I love it more in its GameCube appearance, and while I do think that its 8 appearance is definitely a step up visually, I think a few details that were left out just kind of bog it a little bit below the Vanilla Lakes. So, how on earth did we get to a point where I ranked a desert below the Arctic? What was I saying in the last one about, you know, not having a vacation home in the Antarctic? Ah, okay then. Well, we're gonna roll with that. Moving on, we've got Mushroom Bridge. Mushroom Bridge has a solid 3 appearances: debut in Double Dash, reappearance in DS, and an appearance in Tour. And I gotta say, pretty solid traffic track for something as basic as it is. I think what makes Mushroom Bridge a lot of fun is that giant wiggler wagon that roams around the track. In Double Dash, you hit that thing and it's gonna hurt. You're gonna knock that back person right off the car and take a bit of a slowdown while they try to get their bearings back and their footing. It's a pretty menacing vehicle to encounter, but luckily in Mushroom Bridge, it's not all that hard to dodge. Just watch the turn, that's all. Otherwise, of course, you've got the staple bridge on the track, which, while it's pretty simple in visual appearance, still pretty iconic. I'd call this one a Mushroom Kingdom landmark, if you ask me. Is it anything special? Well, yes and no. It's a part of the straightaway at the very end, but you can also go on top of the arches? I think it's arches. And they have speed boosts lit all over them. This was limited solely to, well, not solely. This was excluded in the DS appearance. And in Double Dash, quite hard to stay on top of those arches because Double Dash was a pretty slippery game. In Tour, on the other hand, much easier because smart steering prevents you from falling off of one end, and if you stick to that end, you should be fine. That being said, Tour also has a lot of good variants. Reverse Trick and Trick were pretty fun. I believe Reverse and Trick were in the ranked for the 2022 or 2023, I believe, for the Me Tour. Yeah, 2023 Me Tour where it debuted. They were both in ranked. I don't believe any other variant was in ranked afterwards, but overall, pretty solid track. It's got a nice shortcut at the after the first tunnel. If you got a mushroom, you can sprint across some dirt, through and across some houses, and onto the other side. In Double Dash, it also had a warp pipe section at the very beginning that served very little purpose other than to maybe just grab some items. But I think that was a very cute little thing. Didn't really matter. And the pipe itself was a 2D element in the DS version where it was removed. And also in the DS or Tour, it was removed. So the warp pipe shortcut didn't really do anything for the track. It was just kind of fun that it was even there. Overall, it's a pretty solid and pretty standard traffic course. I love the iconic bridge, but I still think this is going to end up being a C+ track. I think I'm going to put this one at the top of C+. I think it's a little cool. No, no, for now I'm gonna rank it above Luigi Circuit. Luigi Circuit and Mushroom Bridge are another very close group of tracks that I think both of them in Tour were pretty fun, and both of them in the originals had some unique aspects to them. So I think we'll keep them there for now. And we'll move on to GCN Mario Circuit, which I would roll the "it's a Mario Circuit of all time" joke again, but GBA Mario Circuit already did that, and GCN Mario Circuit might have a little bit more to talk about. First thing to note is that it was the first Mario Circuit to include Peach's Castle on it, which would become a staple across just about every single Mario Circuit going forward. Other than that, it's also got a giant chain chomp, lots of piranha plants, and lots of Goombas. So it's definitely got more hazards than just about every other Mario Circuit up until this point. In fact, I'd almost wager it's probably got the most amount of hazards out of all Mario Circuits, really. What do I think of this track? It's decent. It's pretty standard. It appeared in Mario Kart Wii as well. Another solid appearance to have, where it was the finale to the Leaf Cup. Now that I think about it, between the length and the hazards, yeah, I kind of could pass for that. I think it could pass for Leaf Cup. Other than that, again, much like GCN or GBA Mario Circuit, it doesn't really have a lot going for it. And I don't even know if I want to place it above or below the GBA Mario Circuit. It's got a lot of hazards, a lot of twists and turns, especially for a Flower Cup course. But even beyond that, it doesn't really have too much to talk about either. It's got no true exciting bits to it. The chain chomp is not that hard to avoid. It does have a pretty cool shortcut behind the chain chomp. You know, I do believe I think I know where I want to put this. The piranha plant sections can be a little tricky if they catch you off guard, especially the group of 3 after the bridge, where you might lose some steering abilities when you're midair. And the Goomba section is a very twisty area with a lot of bumps in the road, which could make going into a Goomba pretty easy. I have to admire the difficulty of this course, but when it comes to the creative aspect, I don't think it ranks above Peach Beach. So what we're going to do is we're going to put GCN Mario Circuit in between GBA Mario Circuit and Peach Beach. Its visual appeal is not nearly as good as Peach Beach, but at the same time, its track details, layout, and difficulty definitely have an edge against GBA Mario Circuit. That's what I think, at least. Moving on to Daisy Cruiser. This is another iconic double dash track, and 100% this one does way better than the other iconic track in the form of Baby Park. This is definitely a track that was a prime example of the GameCube just showing that it was a better and stronger console than the N64, with a very unique themed track that we have not yet seen replicated even to this day. Daisy's got her own cruiser. It's also the first Daisy track, which means it might get a few bonus points, but I'm going to be 100% honest. Being owned by Daisy in this in particular case is not going to earn you bonus points. It's still a very nice track though, can't deny that. It's got 4 appearances in Mario Kart Double Dash, Mario Kart 7, Mario Kart Tour, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart 7, honestly, pretty solid. I believe it was the second course of the Leaf Cup? Nope. Third? DK Pass came first, right? Pretty sure DK Pass came first. Yeah. It's Calamari, DK Pass, Daisy Cruiser, Maple Streetway. In any case, yeah, it was in 7. Didn't change too much from the GameCube version other than replacing the cargo space with an aquarium, which was pretty cool to really show off the underwater driving. if you were going to put an underwater section in any track, you might as well make it the cruise ship on the middle of the ocean. In Double Dash, of course, the cargo section made a little bit more sense, where it was just a big storage area connecting to a large exhaust fan by the looks of it. Kind of, will admit, did like that a little bit better, but I'm not gonna talk bad about the aquarium when my Miis were staring at me from the other end. Kind of love that little detail. I love the Miis. Unfortunately, the Miis were removed in the Tour and 8 Deluxe versions, which means, well, actually those two versions actually just have just as much going for them. With the increased detail, the starting line had a lot more extra banners around it, which made it really cool. The pool you can drive in, starting in 7. The dining room was far more decorative than the GameCube and the 7 version. Daisy Cruiser as a whole is just a very solid track, and I very much enjoy it. So, between all 4 of its appearances and not having a single weak one to say, I'd say if we had to pick a weakest, it would probably be 7. But even then, I still love it for its faithful appearance compared to the original, the Miis in the aquarium, and how it's still just overall a solid track. So I think we're going to put Daisy Cruiser in the B rank, and I think I'm going to put it above Cheep Cheep Island and Shy Guy Beach. It is definitely the superior beach track from pretty much every, well, it's not even a beach, what am I saying? It's definitely the superior water-themed track to date amongst most of the beach/vacation styled ones. I know Sherbetland has a lot of water in it, but I don't think you're going to want to take a dip in that water unless you fancy some hypothermia. Otherwise, Daisy Cruiser is definitely probably the best water-themed track we have so far. Outranks Koopa Troopa Beach and Peach Beach pretty well, and I would say, thanks to its theming, just really does beat the other 2 beaches from GBA. Pretty solid overall. Up next we have Waluigi Stadium. It's a pretty good stadium track overall. Do I say it's better than Wario Stadium N64? Not right now. Do I say it's a C- track? Absolutely not. You saw that rank I gave it in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's Booster Course Pass. But much like Boo Lake, we have to take the entire franchise into consideration here. And while the 8 Deluxe appearance of Waluigi Stadium is pretty damn solid, it's not exactly reaching that height with everything else. But like Boo Lake, I don't want to say that it's a bad track. Starting with Double Dash. Well, actually, no. Let's back it up one more second. Another track with 4 appearances, and this one was lucky enough to have Wii as one of them. Now, between its appearances in GameCube and Wii, nothing really changes too much. It's very big in Mario Kart Wii, but that's because Mario Kart Wii in general, pretty big game. All the tracks were scaled up pretty well, and much. They were much bigger. So Waluigi Stadium was, if I'm correct, I think it was still a Banana Cup course, however, sitting in roughly the same spot as it did in Double Dash, being the very last course of Banana versus the very last of Flower. It is really, well, I wouldn't say really high pace or intense, but it definitely satisfies the stadium feel for the position that it's in. Unfortunately, talking about Mario Kart Tour is less about whether or not the track is good, and more of, it has 2 appearances, and while I've played it at least roughly 4 times at this point, those appearances are pretty spread out, and we don't really get to play this track until midway into the year, and then again near the end. So, the scattered appearances make my memory on Waluigi Stadium pretty iffy at best. And while this is not a ranking point, I remember that I did not have a very good combination for one of those variants, having a very low-level glider that doesn't help me. That being said, I believe either the reverse trick or the regular version were in ranked at one point. Might have even been the trick version. I don't remember. Its debut was in the Mario vs. Luigi tour, and even then, it only got 1 ranked appearance in that tour. And then I think it got another ranked appearance again in the Night tour, if I'm correct. either way, it was one of the rare late game tracks to even get a second appearance. That being said, the detailing in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and in Tour was definitely on point, and the 8 Deluxe blew even the Tour version out of the water with really good visuals. I love how they have the front loaders? The excavators, or some kind of construction truck, almost as a little nod to Waluigi's Gold Mantis cart from Mario Kart DS. Really like that. It was a solid course in both Double Dash and in Wii. I think its highlight is definitely Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but I'm not necessarily going to say it's an A-rank track simply because of that. Because Boo Lake I still genuinely enjoyed, even in Mario Kart Super Circuit. Meanwhile, Waluigi Stadium was a pretty standard track overall in all of its appearances. No, I really don't want to say that it's an A-rank track. And my fatigue with Yoshi Valley, I don't feel like I can rank that one in A rank either. So I want to say, like, if I want to put this in B, I feel like other tracks should deserve an A rank, but I don't feel like anything is climbing up to A just yet. So we're going to put Waluigi Stadium in the B tier. But let's see, where do I want to put it? Put it here for now, while I figure it out and compare. See, we're getting into a point where now I'm comparing these tracks to a lot more. I don't know, like, its 8 Deluxe appearance is definitely leagues better than Daisy Cruiser. But Daisy Cruiser is a very across-the-board solid track. I also really, really like Shy Guy Beach and Cheep Cheep Island. I don't know how I'm going to separate those two. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in between Shy Guy Beach and Luigi Circuit. Because it's definitely better than Luigi Circuit, 100%, no doubt about it. But I really still call myself back to the Wii of Shy Guy Beach, and I absolutely love that appearance. Enough so that I don't really want to say that the 8 Deluxe version alone is what I want to use to rank it above these three, or even Lakeside. Yeah, no, I think this is a pretty solid place to put it. Alright, moving on to GCN Sherbet Land. I really can't say much bad about this track. Even for a track that is in the Mario Kart 8 10-year boat, I still absolutely love Sherbet Land. And this is definitely a track that I can 100% love to see when I do my lengthy 48 track versus runs in Mario Kart 8. But starting in Double Dash, this was definitely a highlight for me as one of the more unique tracks in the game, even for a generic snow track. But I think I have to call upon the very reason why I ranked it high in Mario Kart 8. I didn't even rank it in Mario Kart 8. I was talking about it during my all-course racing video. I have to call back on that one. The visuals, they kind of hit home for me. The ice sculptures on this track in the second portion, especially highlighted in the Mario Kart 8 version, they call me back to my Ottawa trip in grade 8, where we visited a place, or a display full of large ice sculptures, and I loved it. Like, honestly, thinking back, that was quite the highlight, especially for grade school. Wow, that's a callback that I'm feeling feels right now, guys. That's not, I don't know if that's a good thing. You know what? No, it's a good thing. This is a beautiful track. And wow, is it ever earning some brownie points for making me feel a positive emotion about grade school. I love the visuals of this track. Mario Kart 8 made it look so beautiful with all the lights, the colorful lights, the beautiful ice designs on the ice sculptures. The skating Shy Guys were a nice touch. Being able to drive into the icy pool in 8 was as a new shortcut. Even creating a new icy pool section in the second half, a lot of fun. The gliding ramp on the shortcut, the great addition. Even in the OG, the nice shade of blue that this whole track is coated with, this light snowfall, the nighttime appearance. I can't say anything bad about this track. I don't really... I'm about to treat this track so well. I'm about to give this track a really big treat. I was originally going to put this in the A rank, pretty high up. I think I have to put it in S. Nah, this track just dug up so many good feels. I'm putting it above Mario Circuit 3 and Bowser Castle 3. For now. I don't know if I'm going to put this any lower, but for now, I think this is a pretty solid S rank track. I kind of have to. I just really felt good about describing and thinking back to this track and how much I really did enjoy it. This is definitely one of my favorite GCN tracks, and I think it deserves to be in the S. Wow. Alright, thanks Sherbetland. Thanks for making me feel good about my past there for a second. Alright, no more mushy stuff. Let's move on. Mushroom City. Mushroom Bridge on steroids. Remember how I said that the Wiggler Wagon was not that hard to dodge in Mushroom Bridge? I said that because it's a nightmare in Mushroom City. Mushroom City is a pretty interesting city track. It's got multiple different paths to follow, and if you're not used to it, and if it's your first time playing, you might get turned around a little bit. I do clearly remember that my brother and my father played this track before I did, and they actively warned me, be careful which way you go, you might end up going the wrong way. There is a large square section in the midway point that you could, if you weren't looking at the arrow signs, you might get turned around. Everything else is pretty straightforward. There are a few hidden pathways here and there, which I really do enjoy and appreciate. Mushroom City also only has one appearance. Double Dash is the only game we can talk about here, because Mushroom City is one of the few tracks that have not made a reappearance yet. Up there with 5 SNES tracks being Bowser Castle 1, Bowser Castle 2, Mario Circuit 4, Ghost Valley 3, and Koopa Beach 1. That's the other one. Alongside N64 Wario Stadium, GBA Broken Pier, and GBA Rainbow Road. So, congrats! We have reached 9 unreturned tracks. Let's get back to the point. Mushroom City is fun. I love the city design. The Wiggler Wagon is a nightmare to dodge because it basically hovers around the square area, which means you turn a corner and all of a sudden there's a giant green Wiggler bus staring you in the face. And next thing you know it, Daisy's on the back of the car being dragged on the road. Yes, I say Daisy because I'm probably playing as Yoshi and Daisy. Or Yoshi and Petey. You know what? Yoshi's probably the one on the road. Petey's probably the driver because I'm not looking over that head. That being said, still a pretty fantastic track. Traffic's a nightmare to dodge in this one, but the big city vibes, I'm all about that. So, that being said, there's not too much to talk about here. The little shortcuts were really nice. They're fun to get the hang of. Dodging traffic is always fun for Mario Kart standards. We're putting this one in the B. Where, though? Good question. I want to say... Once again, Luigi Raceway proving a really tough bar to beat. We're putting it right under Luigi Raceway. Definitely has an edge over pretty much everything else in the B tier. If B gets too big, we're probably going to split it up into B plus and minus as well. If C plus gets even bigger, we're adding a mid C tier. This is going to be a big list. Makes sense, because there's more than 170 tracks to cover. But for now, Mushroom City, pretty solid top of B. Moving on to Yoshi Circuit. You would imagine that a track being shaped after my favorite video game character would earn it enough points, but we have a few problems to deal with Yoshi here. He better be listening to this one. So, let's start with the first thing. Yoshi Circuit has 4 appearances. Mario Kart Double Dash, Mario Kart DS, Mario Kart 8, and Mario Kart Tour. It's got a lot of the same problems as Baby Park, except it's not chaotic. It's just got a better layout. So that's basically the trade-off. Having an appearance in Mario Kart DS is not always a compliment. It might be a compliment for some tracks, like the SNES tracks, maybe the GBA tracks, and quite possibly a few N64 tracks, but being a GameCube track, reappearing in DS was not a compliment. And that could be said for, well, I've already covered them all. Yoshi Circuit, unfortunately, was no different. Keeping its layout was definitely a plus. You can't go wrong with being shaped like a giant Yoshi. However, it did remove quite a few extra little things. For starters, I don't believe the Yoshi helicopter was present in that version. In fact, I don't think the Yoshi helicopter reappeared after its debut, which... Nice, you lost a few points. That was kind of one of the best parts about this track. Otherwise, there was also a small little cave or tunnel located just after the hand tunnel, I believe. No, right after the nose, right up at the eyes, is where a small tunnel was located just underneath the track, and it would take you all the way to Yoshi's back. In the GameCube version only. That was removed from every other version, and that sucks. Because that was so much fun. Why would you remove that? So, congrats, you knocked a few more points off. Is there anything I can say that gives this track some points? Yes. The visual appeal in Mario Kart 8 was pretty damn good. Transforming the boots of the Yoshi track into a small little town, complete with some pit stops and some Yoshi-themed areas, pretty nice. The visual appeal everywhere else was pretty decent. Cutting through the flower patches was pretty nice for some shortcuts, especially since they were not blocked off starting in Mario Kart 8, which is pretty solid. So the shortcut opportunities were there, dodge the piranha plants. The variants in Mario Kart Tour were nothing too special. I guess the most notable thing was that the reverse trick version half defeated the purpose of going in reverse by making one of those figure 8 styled reverse tricks, where the track would start to intertwine and go above the boundaries and start going in the right direction for a little bit before crossing right back and going back in reverse. So, what do I really have to say about Yoshi Circuit? Unfortunately, this probably has to be one of the weaker Yoshi-themed tracks as a whole. I am 100% not ranking this above Yoshi Valley, but I don't know if I want to put it in C+. I can't believe I'm actually about to put it in C+, honestly. I don't think being shaped after my favorite character is really going to earn it that many brownie points. I think I'm going to stick it in between the Mario circuits here. I love the shape of the track, but it's never really done anything exciting since then. The Yoshi helicopter was also a very nice touch, but the fact that it and that cool little shortcut were completely removed, Yoshi Circuit just kind of didn't get better as it aged. It didn't age very well, I think that's the point. The difficulty curve of Mario Circuit and just being kind of a little bit more notable is kind of the reason why I want to put it above Yoshi Circuit. Also, Yoshi Circuit just was in DS, which didn't do it any favors. But moving on to a track that 100% does do better than Yoshi Circuit, we've got DK Mountain. Another very iconic Double Dash track. And this one 100% did not get worse as it went on, and it also has 4 appearances. What makes it better? One of those 4 appearances was Mario Kart Wii as opposed to Mario Kart DS. So let's get into it. Double Dash's DK Mountain was a pretty intense track. It was one of the first tracks to introduce a barrel cannon launching you to a higher point in the track. That's pretty fun. So The very beginning, aside from always reminding me of a coat hanger, has a little bit of a squiggly turn going up a mountainous path, up following a big hook to the big cannon that shot you right up to the volcano. And the trip downward, while the mountain itself was very wide open and definitely didn't have too much noteworthy, it was a very twisty track going downward, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of opportunities to cut the track. There was no off-road on the mountain, which meant you didn't have to stay on the road portion. In fact, that road portion, I'm pretty sure, was basically just removed going forward. If I'm correct, I don't even think there was a dedicated road section in Mario Kart Tour and 8 Deluxe. And you could just go anywhere you wanted. You can cut close to the wall, get down, and yeah, it was pretty good. You'd eventually have to contest with rolling rocks, which in Double Dash would throw somebody off the cart and have them be dragging on the ground. So you might want to watch out for that. The twisty section below, leading to a much more jungly area, there was an abyss near the end, which you could jump all over if you had a mushroom and make for a pretty risky shortcut. When I say risky, you have a 33% chance of falling into the abyss, 33% chance of either hitting the wall, and maybe a 33% chance of actually landing the shortcut and going without problems. There's a lot to this track, and I think that's very admirable. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe definitely did the visuals justice. Still very distracting trees, but the mountain was amazing. And this was definitely a very good pick for the Booster Course Pass when you were competing with Dino Jungle. And I think DK Mountain might have just been a little bit easier so that they didn't have to model a whole bunch of dinosaurs. That being said, we do have to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is Mario Kart Tour. Now, this is not necessarily a bad thing, but DK Mountain was an incredibly challenging track in Tour. If we're going by Mario Kart Tour's rules, where keeping up a combo is kind of the big deal, Tour did not make it easy. The winding track made it very hard to keep your combo going with how bouncy it was, how sharp the turns were. It was very hard to build a mini turbo before and let it go before you were A, either hitting a wall, or B, the combo would be broken. This was a hard track, and I do think that costs it a few points, but that's not enough for me to say it's going to be ranking any lower. We're going to be putting DK Mountain up in A, where I think I think I want to put it below Mario Raceway, though. I think I do have a bit more fun with just about all these other tracks. And DK Mountain is definitely an iconic track for what it's worth. But I do very much enjoy Mario Raceway, which was also in Mario Kart Wii and in Mario Kart Tour. And while DK Mountain does have a edge with having a few more appearances to enjoy and the Booster Course Pass, Mario Raceway still has a bit of an iconic, nostalgic position in my heart, thanks to its N64 origins. So now we move on to Wario Coliseum. If you could believe that the GameCube held the shortest track in the franchise, it also holds one of the longest tracks in the franchise. Definitely not outranking Mario Kart 64's Rainbow Road or 3DS's Rainbow Road. Wario Coliseum was still long enough that they had to nerf the lap count. Unlike every other track that had 3 laps, barring Baby Park, which had 7, Wario Coliseum had 2 laps. I almost said 9. I was thinking of how Mario Kart Double Dash was also one of the only games where you can. Mario Kart Double Dash was one of the only games that you can alter the lap count for versus races. Off point. Wario Coliseum only has 2 laps because of its length. It is a very twisty and complicated track. Well, no, I wouldn't necessarily say complicated because it's also a very one-way track, but it's a very twisty and very big track, suiting for Wario's twisted nature. Here's the thing, Again, being another course with only one appearance, Wario Coliseum has nothing else to go off of other than its standard DS or Double Dash appearance. It's pretty good. I really much enjoy it. It's challenging, it's long, it's got the big open circular area near the end, which offers a big jump across the pit if you want to take your shot. If you don't line that up, have fun kissing the abyss. Otherwise, even for a complicated and twisty track, it doesn't really have too much notable for it. It's got a big jump leading into the Coliseum itself, which was pretty cool, and a lot of large spiral downward areas. A lot of jumps too, a lot of bumpy bits. I have to definitely say that this is going to be a B rank track. I'm going to rank it a little early because I've pretty much covered everything it's got. It's a very twisty and big track, but the outward areas are definitely enough where you can catch your bearings for a little bit. The jumps aren't too hard, and the straightaways and turns aren't that hard. It's once you get in the Coliseum that's going to be the problem. That being said, I think that this is a pretty strong contender for Wario Stadium. I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna rank it above Mario Circuit 2. I think it deserves it. I don't feel like a lot of people are going to sit here and say, why are you ranking, or no, a lot of people are probably going to say, why are you ranking SNES tracks so high? They're not that special. Look, a lot of SNES tracks did have a lot of saving features in future appearances, Mario Circuit 3 notwithstanding, because we all know that's only up an S for favoritism. But Mario Circuit 2 was a lot of fun in its various reappearances. 7 is definitely carrying it, but Wario Coliseum, I really just see it as a very close contender with Wario Stadium, and I don't want to put them too far apart. I think they deserve to be close by for their similarities, so we're going to stick it at the top of B. Moving on to the second jungle track, we have Dino Dino Jungle. This one was fun. Also, it's got 3 appearances in Double Dash 7 and Tour. It doesn't change much across its various appearances, aside from a few gliding ramps here and there from 7. Otherwise, the big appeal? The dinosaurs. Specifically, the one that found its way onto the track and is just stomping itself around. In Double Dash, even just hitting this giant Goliath's foot would be enough to wipe you out. Never mind getting stomped by it. In 7 and in Tour, hitting it didn't cause any problems, but it would still squish you if it stepped on you, so you better watch out. Its head was also a bit of an issue because it was looming over a bridge above. The head would also wipe you out if you hit it while in Double Dash. It wasn't that big of a problem in the other games. In fact, in Tour, you can trick off of it because I believe in the trick version, its neck was sticking out just enough where you can trick off the neck. So, what does it really have going for it? Aside from being more jungle than DK Mountain, Dino Dino Jungle just really does have all the dinosaurs to take into account. They're fun to look at, and while they don't get any plentiful in numbers going forward, they're still fun that they're there. The one big one that causes problems is a pretty unique hazard, and probably the main reason why the course didn't make it into 8 Deluxe. But overall, the geysers were a big problem in both Double Dash and in 7, where they would wipe you out. In Tour, you could use them for trick opportunities. There was a gliding ramp on the exit of the tunnel, as well as the shortcut, which was a pretty risky shortcut because the mud would 100% slow you down no matter what. Even if you had a high off-road in Mario Kart 7, you still were losing a lot of time on that one, so you might not want to take that without a mushroom. Overall, I'm going to have to put this one in B. It's pretty solid, all things considered, but I don't know. Interesting factor, I'd say it's better than Waluigi Stadium, but everything else considered, I don't think it's better than Daisy Cruiser. I'm gonna, once again, stick it right here, right in front of Waluigi Stadium. Breaking up these beaches and this cruiser is gonna be another hard task, but we still got like 5 more games to cover, so I don't think we have to worry. Something will maybe break them up. Alright, moving on to Bowser's Castle. Another really strong contender for Bowser's Castles. I'd say that this is definitely one of the most menacing Bowser's Castles. Like several others, it's only got 1 appearance, so we're... Oh my goodness. Dang it. Anyway, it's a menacing Bowser's Castle, 1 appearance, so we don't have too much to talk about here, but we're gonna make it last regardless. This Bowser's Castle has a lot of thwomps, a lot of fire, and a lot of Bowser statues spitting fire at you. Not a lot of those, there's only 1, but it's still a pretty notable hazard. It's also a very twisty Bowser's Castle. It's got a few generous straightaways, a jump near the end, a few jumps inside the castle that will cost you if you miss. Do not fall in the lava. Thank you very much. I think the giant Bowser statue near the end is 100% one of the most notable parts of this whole track. But I also have to give credit to the rotating fire bars in the midway section, which could be seen as pretty hard to dodge, so you might want to be careful of those. The thwomps are also menacingly problematic because Double Dash had this thing where even thwomps or other things that you would normally just hit, just touching them wiped you out. So thwomps, you might want to avoid those in general. Whether it be getting out from underneath them or avoiding just hitting them in general, don't hit thwomp. Don't hit thwomp, thank you very much. This has been your relatively pointless warning for Bowser's Castle, a track that is naturally dangerous. The Bowser statue also shot fireballs, and it's got a high risk, high reward, because if that Bowser statue was facing the entryway to the area, you're contesting that shortcut. There's a shortcut near the end of the first straightaway that you could use to skip a small turn and drift into the final section. But if the Bowser statue was hovering right above that, you're going to take a fireball if you try. So, careful of your timing. That being said, what do I think of this track? I like it. It's a very good Bowser's Castle. Would I say it's better than N64? No. Would I say it's better than SNES Bowser Castle 3? That's the problem. Because I would like to put this in the S rank. The question is it better than Bowser Castle 3? The glow up was phenomenal. And a lot of recency bias wants me to rank it above GCN Bowser's Castle. I don't think I want to do that. However, we're finally reaching that point. There is no way I'm ranking 2 Bowser's Castles below Mario Circuit 3. But we have to understand that Mario Circuit 3 is still my favorite. So if I put it lower, that's going to be a misinformative reflection, because Mario Circuit 3 is still my favorite track. And this is a personal ranking. I am not computing this right now. I can't put Mario Circuit 3 above both these Bowser's Castles, but there is no way. Well, no, it's not that I'm saying there's no way. This has to be my personal ranking. I have to say, if I'm saying Mario Circuit 3 is my favorite SNES track, I can't rank it lower than another SNES track. I still have to do it. Mario Circuit 3 is still my favorite. GCN Bowser's Castle is ranking at the bottom of S right now. I have to embrace the opinion. SNES Mario Circuit 3 is still my favorite SNES track, so I have to keep it above anything that might contest with it. Speaking of things that are going to be contesting with it, GCN Rainbow Road. GCN Rainbow Road is not contesting with Mario Circuit 3. It's beating it without even trying. Okay, GameCube's Rainbow Road is my favorite Rainbow Road to date. It's beautiful. This is straight up the most beautiful Rainbow Road to date. And I think yes, we are competing with things like 3DS Rainbow Road and Wii's Rainbow Road. But I think what makes GameCube's Rainbow Road hit a little better than both of those is that it's hanging above the city. I want you to try to picture this scene. You're in the city on a starry night. You'll look up and you can see this magnificent, beautiful Rainbow Road right above you. It's far away. You can't reach it. A plane might be able to soar just within range of it. But overall, it's just hanging there. It's beautiful. It's got a bunch of rainbow sculptures all around it. A giant tunnel shooting you upward to another part of the track. The glass Rainbow Road looks are phenomenal. The sound, this is the first game where there was a glinting sound effect when you drifted on and turned on this road. GameCube's Rainbow Road is the most beautiful track, I think, in the franchise. And I'm saying that with the utmost confidence because 3DS Rainbow Road is also pretty beautiful in both of its appearances. And while GameCube's Rainbow Road doesn't have 2 appearances to talk about, I still think that its 1 appearance is enough for me to want to rank it even higher. Even on top of that, definitely one of the hardest tracks in the entire game, and even maybe in the entire franchise, because Double Dash's control scheme was pretty rough. So you were very likely to fall multiple times. On top of that, shooting stars might actually hit the track, and they could wipe you out in the very rare chance that that would happen, but they could also leave a star on the track, which you can grab, be invincible no matter what position you're in, and probably fall because you started going too fast. Overall, though, I think the fact that I was really praising its beauty is enough to say that, and the fact that I said it's my second favorite Rainbow Road, no, not second favorite, it's my favorite Rainbow Road. Well, if you look at the ranking right now, the highest Rainbow Road is sitting at number 2. Which means, if you think about it, yes, GameCube's Rainbow Road is right here beside Toad's Turnpike as my second favorite track in the entire franchise. So yeah, we are 4 videos in and you now know my first and second favorite tracks in the entire franchise. And we're going to keep it that way for just a little bit longer because we're out of time for the GameCube ranking. We're going to be moving on to DS next, which is going to be interesting. I'm going to be honest, the GameCube did, I think Sherbetland was the most surprising thing out of this entire ranking because I wasn't expecting it to break free of the A rank and shoot itself up to S, and I really have to thank it for that. Alright, I can definitely tell that I'm starting to lose my voice, so I think I'm going to call it right here. Let me know what you think of my ranking, and of course, let me know what your ranking for Double Dash tracks are. If you agreed, if there was anything you agreed with, let me know. If you disagreed with anything, let me know. And of course, please, if you want to see more of these ranking videos, which are 100% on the way, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave some comments so we can get this, so we can get some algorithm going. I hope you guys all enjoyed this, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.